Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath.
The podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grinbaum.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hello, Diana.
Polina, I don't have any time for any witty banter because we've got Steve and Izzy from Everything I Learned from Movies here.
Yeah, you're right. Let's not waste time with our witty banter.
Steve and Izzy!
Yay!
Oh, insert witty banner.
Fill in those blanks.
You guys are witty banter personified. Just your presence.
Aw, that's
we
why,
need.
because you guys are the wittiest banterers that ever bantered in the history of banting.
I think it's just
she said
the
it.
combo of all of us. It's too powerful. So,
We're like Asta to your Nick and Nora.
Aww.
Heck.
Love this. All right. So we are talking about Romancing the Stone from 1984.
Mm-hmm. And this
Alright.
is Steve and Izzy's pick, right?
I mean,
Right.
you two are collectively one person, right?
We are.
We are the Mad East Izzy.
Gross.
Do you have a theme song?
Everything I learned from movies. Hey, you can find out the rest at eilfm.podbean.com. Fun
guys are
fact,
so-
it includes
you guys-
gratuitous boobies.
I would like for those of you playing at home to take a shot every time Steve inserts a plug. Careful, you might die.
Hang on, Izzy. I was taking a shot. What?
Take charcoal. Yeah. Have the charcoal at the ready before you listen to this podcast, or take Steve and Izzy's advice. I'm going to have a sip of an old fashioned because I'm old.
Delicious.
Ooh.
One of my favorite
Well,
cocktails.
It is,
I'm just going to throw another brick on the fireplace and
We're not there yet, Steve.
oh, sorry.
But,
So-
excellent segue.
uh-huh.
We got, I should probably jump in here with the description for those who don't know why Steve is inhaling all of that smoke.
Snoop Dogg.
It's not this movie.
We will go with, all right, Romancing the Stone, 1984. A dowdy romantic adventure rider is hurled into a real-life adventure in the Colombian jungle in order to save her sister, who will be killed if a treasure map is not delivered to her captors. And she is helped out by a brash mercenary, and together they search for the priceless gem located in the map. Movie stars Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, Danny DeVito, Zack Norman, Alfonso Arau, Manuel Ojeda, Holland Taylor, Mary Ellen Trainor, and directed by Robert Zemeckis. All right.
So, Alfonso Arau directed a movie we did this year or last year, I guess.
Like Water for Chocolate. We've done exactly 2 movies this year, Polina. Calm down.
Last year. It's still 2019 to me. I haven't accepted.
Yeah, in your heart. Yes, like Water for Chocolate. I had put a little star next to that name, which I thought was kind of cool. I kept staring at Juan, his character, the whole time, and I'm just like, is he still with me, El Guapo? I got to look this up when this movie's over.
He's also in Three Amigos.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't understand my subtle little pieces right there. Steve, thanks for giggling.
I did not know this because I've never seen Three Amigos, but I know it's shocking. But my husband who was watching it with me was like, "That's the guy from Three Amigos." So,
And you're like, Steve Martin?
yeah, exactly. I was like, I
Wow,
thought,
Martin Short's
is
wearing a
that
lot of
different
makeup.
movie than I think it is? Yes.
You're
well,
silly.
you know what?
Donald Duck's made up.
You'll have to give me an excuse to watch Three Amigos, guys. So it's on you. It's
Coming
now
next week.
here.
Now I have to take a shot. Okay. All right. So, Collective Steve and Izzy, this was your pick. Tell us a little bit about your experience with this movie, first time you saw it. Polina will ask you her questions about format. Go on.
Well, I guess I'll start. This was one of like the 8 to 10 VHS tapes I had growing up. So I've seen this movie conservatively about 1,000 times. I loved it as a kid. Along with Revenge of the Nerds, a previous episode. See, plugging your show now. And like Ghostbusters and basically all those great movies like 84 and 85. Lady Hawk, I think, was among them.
Lady Hawk, yes.
But yeah, I've seen this one a lot. Really like it. I was like, oh wow, this lady sounds like Jessica Rabbit. No.
I'm just going to stop you there. Kathleen Turner has the sexiest voice.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. Just Kathleen Turner is sexy. She's just like, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about Kathleen Turner in a minute.
Well, it starts with the opening scene where she basically narrates her own book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
this be the whole movie? Because I'd be okay with that.
Kathleen Turner does audiobooks. Up next.
Please, for the love of God. I hope so.
Yeah,
that might make 2020 a lot easier to handle.
Yeah, it's deep and sultry, so I understand what you mean. And this hit very impressionable Steve with his 10 collection of VHSs. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, boobies in the first act, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, watching it again this time, like, oh yeah, rated PG. Oh, there are some things in here that are.
Well, wasn't this before PG-13? I'm not 100% sure,
I think it's after Temple of Doom where they splitting it. So yeah, it's I think that was 82 or 83 or something.
It was PG-13. Right. I remember.
I'm willing to wager that it did come after, but at the same time, people are just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that 13 thing.
Yeah, that makes it weird. I mean, I'm just trying to make a Gremlins movie here. Yeah. Dad dies in the fireplace. But
only in a story, not on screen.
Save that for the Folgers commercial. Am I right?
Oh my God. There's a Folgers commercial reenacting that scene. It is horrifying.
Oh God, now I want to watch it. I love Folgers commercials. Are very entertaining. Weirdly.
Look at what did they got? They had a terrible name for it too. Was it?
Folgers?
No, the commercial, like they call it like I don't know. I found it on YouTube to send it to some Canadians who weren't getting that commercial. I will send it to you guys, and yeah, it has a really almost disturbing name for that commercial. It's not coming to me at the moment.
Oh, no problem. We'll
Santa Claus roasting.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't. Your lack of encyclopedic knowledge of the names of Folgers commercials will not be counted.
It was called Chimney Hole. That's what it was called.
Chippy Hole.
Chimney Hole.
Oh, thank God. I was like, Chippy Hole? Chimney Hole's bad. Chimney Hole. Oh, okay. Better than Chippy Hole.
I'm going to tell everyone to shut their Chippy Hole later on. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, let's do it.
There you
tell
go.
my husband.
Shut your Chippy Hole.
Oh, Lordy. Okay.
So what about Izzy?
I did not own this movie, so I've only seen this movie a handful of times, but my mother, having excellent taste, had a huge crush on Michael Douglas, so if a movie came on with Michael Douglas in it, we would watch it.
My mom, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think she...
Pretty sure my mom 3.
Exactly.
And also Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is always good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she did have a crush on Michael Douglas. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
She told me. Wait, no. She told
Catherine Zeta-Jones told you she had a crush on Michael Douglas?
I mean, like through interviews and shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
like
when we were on set of The Phantom together, hanging out with Billy Zane and Treat Williams.
We're just hanging out. She's like, I had a crush on him for the whole time.
Diana's lived life that we don't even know about. Where's that podcast?
I know.
That's not interesting.
Diana's life hanging out in movie sets, talking to Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I mean, you want to be the one making fun of me? Where's the laundry? Take a shot every time Polina has met somebody famous.
I've met like 4 famous people. So it kind of depends on how well you can hold your alcohol, how drunk you're going to be. If you have a full stomach, you'd be fine. Like, in some states, you'd probably be legal to drive.
If any of our diehard podcast listeners can actually name all of them, I will send you some Frankie and Myrrh.
If I will make you a home cooked meal.
Not legally binding.
No.
I'm gonna look.
Not valid in all states.
Yeah, exactly.
Go through the
You do
entire
have
back
to will not
catalog
pay for your
again.
travel arrangements.
So
Somebody knows me who probably knows all the stories, so it probably wouldn't be hard.
I'm gonna laugh if Sean sends all of this information to us and like Polina's husband might have a couple of insights on Polina's.
I think you'd have to listen to an entire podcast episode first. So.
Or any conversations he has with you.
Yes. So Izzy, did you did it make an impression on you?
I mean, it's definitely like a memorable movie. Like, it's difficult to forget this movie, but like I said, like I didn't own it, so I don't think I saw it enough times for it to like really have a huge impact.
Mm-hmm.
Other than like this, really, is one of the movies that very early solidified the thing that I'll watch Michael Douglas in anything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, I definitely this was all so I was. Since I'm a little older than you guys, I saw this movie in the theater with my mom.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was rated PG, so she's a responsible, moviegoer. But I think we probably as a family saw almost everything at one point. We probably saw everything that Kathleen Turner and or Michael Douglas was in, now that I think about it. But that is not legally binding because I'm looking at Kathleen Turner and it's pretty much true. However, Michael Douglas was a little more prolific, so
I could see that. I'm just trying to imagine like all of the things you watch with your mom, like Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct. How was that for you?
Basic Instinct. Yeah.
Oh my God, my parents' favorite movie was, which they talked about forever. One of them was Last Tango in Paris. And they talked about this constantly. And I finally, I saw it. I was 17. I was like, are you friggin' kidding me? Oh, thank God I wasn't with them. But I'm like, really, guys? Yeah, I don't know. It was a different time, Diana. And also, my parents, I was an only child. My parents didn't have, they couldn't leave me with other people to go see movies. They had to, either leave me alone or take me. It's cheaper than, buying your child a movie ticket is cheaper than, paying for a babysitter. And they can always be like, hey, Russian, we don't really believe in therapy, so we're not going to pay for your therapy. So it kind of was, an economic calculation.
Nice. Yeah. So you guys mentioned Basic Instinct as one of the movies. I remember distinctly watching that for the first time when it's kind of new, just came out on video with my dad. I was 10 years old at the time, and I had questions towards the end. It was basically like it was late night. Mom was asleep. My dad was a cop, so we were, they worked different shifts and stuff. And this was like time where it's like, okay, cool, I can finally watch a movie I wouldn't be able to with the rest of the family. And of course I come out and he's like, all right, well, don't tell your mom, you can watch this movie. And of course I'm gripped because it's Paul Verhoeven, directed Majesty, Sharon Stone. Yeah.
It's kind of
yeah. But the questions I had, he was like, you know what? Maybe when you're 15, I'll answer some of them for you. In the meantime, it doesn't matter. Just watch Ghostbusters.
My parents were pretty loose. Yeah, I think in retrospect they were more concerned about violence than sex, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, my parents too.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't watch anything. They wouldn't let me, so I didn't try, and so it just made life easier.
Yeah, Diana watched her first R-rated movie about 3 months ago.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh wait, it was Revenge of the Nerds. That's right.
It was a little scary too, Thanks for holding my hand the whole time.
Of course.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, I got a fun fact. Super fun fact, because it's a fun fact. Patent pending.
Yay. Hey, do I get to drink when Diana makes a plug for your show?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Plina, if you just want to drink, go ahead. You're an adult.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, so the person who was portraying the silhouette of the heroine in the beginning scene, same person who played the one of the ghosts in Ghostbusters.
Oh.
The floating ghost?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that the ghost that gives Dan Aykroyd the thing?
That ghost.
There it is.
Wow.
Sorry, that's a upcoming. Actually, yeah, that's a Patreon exclusive episode for Ghost Dad.
I was going to say, I have listened to that episode, so it could or could not be Patreon exclusive. Woo!
Woo. You want it? You want to sign up for Steve and Izzy's Patreon, don't you now?
Take a shot.
I'm taking a drink.
It's only $2 a month, and you get dozens of episodes, including what may be our first 30 or so episodes going behind the paywall because they are not the greatest.
We were working out the kinks and coming up with theme songs.
Indeed.
That actually sounds so good.
And there was a thing called editing we found out about.
$2 is like what I lose in my like jean pockets, like in the laundry.
Yeah, see?
So you have now why haven't I'm an idiot.
See, now you can learn about all the context of our inside jokes, like how our cats are constantly trying to hack all the government secrets.
Well, I mean, how hard is it?
How hard is it to get all the inside jokes?
I mean, not the inside jokes, but hacking in to find out all the secrets. Apparently, it's not that hard.
Well, I mean, if a cat can do it.
The key is to have 5 laptops. But we're talking about Romancing the Stone before.
Anyway,
are we?
Sorry. It's been a major day in the news. So
I have a side question here. So this is the first time I've seen this movie, and so I have like an entire lifetime of context of movies that various people have come out with after said movie. So I'm just kind of playing catch up here. Did the beginning of this movie sound very much musically like the beginning of Back to the Future?
Yeah. Well, it's the same director, Robert Zemeckis. I think it's the same music guy, Alan Silvestri. I mean, I have another fun fact that I found out this last time watching this movie. Written by Diane Thomas. This is the only thing she's written because, unfortunately, she died in a car accident like a month before or after the movie came out. But it's like, it's like, oh my God.
Wait, don't tell me it's before. I'm going to pretend it's after. That must be such an...
She had an incredible opening premiere and, living on top of the world. I'm sure there'll be a Lifetime movie about it one day.
So she went out on a high.
That's right.
Because if she did it before, like... That's always what like just breaks my heart when like, people's moms or their grandmother or their sister dies like right before some major life event of theirs, or they die like, before a movie of theirs came out or something. Oh, it just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
But then Back to the Future came out the following year with the same team, and so 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Like, we were commenting on this when I was watching it with my husband, Sean, the aforementioned, and we're both like, it's like this movie actually, I mean, I haven't seen it. I probably watched this a bunch of times again. Like it was on TV. There was some free preview weekends, HBO free preview weekend action. I think a friend of mine had it on VHS. I don't know if I watched it obsessively, but I really, like when you did it, when you said that you would do it, one, that theme song has been stuck in my head for like a week. But the other thing is, I just was like, oh my God, why isn't that on my list? Like I got very excited. And because to me, Kathleen Turner, and especially Kathleen Turner in this movie is like I was like, that's the goal. Like, that's a good way to be, like her voice, her.
Oh, I thought you were talking about living alone in an apartment in New York with your cat and writing romance novels.
Really nice apartment, a big pre-war apartment.
Oh God, yes.
In New York, she has a very nice editor. She doesn't have a boss. She has a doorman, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Well, she's like the Danielle Steele of her day.
I'm I mean, yeah, she could probably, maybe she could use some time to like, she could probably use a little time to like, try to schedule like a yoga class once a week just so she's forced to get out of the house.
I don't know if yoga had been I don't know if yoga had been invented back then.
Well, in India, but
well, it had, yeah, and it was actually people were starting to do Pilates could have done that. That was still jazzercise.
Whatever staying alive is.
Right. Like
movie.
or
Ridiculous.
Or just like aerobics, or maybe just like I don't know, a meetup of some kind. But
Buns of Steel.
Yeah. And frankly, buying her liquor in tiny airplane bottles, like not really a great financial choice, but yeah.
8-minute abs.
I think my guess is that that's supposed to be that she doesn't buy liquor. She just like takes the tiny bottles from the airplanes and doesn't drink them until she
doesn't like to fly. I think she only buys them.
I think it's a little deeper than that, guys. I think what it is unfortunately her father was a bit of an alcoholic, so she knows it's a slippery slope. And so this is how she like self-regulates, where it's like, okay, I need a little something. I'm just going to have this little half-ounce shot of I don't know, Bartles and James or whatever the hell crap.
Right. When I finish
it.
Well, Bartles and James is a wine cooler because it's
it is. Yeah, that's right.
And I remember this time. Gather round, boys and girls, while I tell you stories of a time long ago, the 80s.
Nobody's drink a BJ. You are missing out on life.
I'll have your finest box of wine.
And it was Zima. Zima was a thing.
I remember Zima.
It's so terrible.
Oh, you mean the Bud Light seltzer of the 90s?
Yeah.
That's poised for a comeback now.
Oh, totally. Well, like,
or will it be a joke?
There's hard ginger ale.
I'm willing to wager it's like buried in the desert next to all those ET cartridges.
Do you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but in nice bars and like casino bars, they would have a Zima on display in like, it had like a little mirrored background. It had like a little case that said Zima.
Yes.
My dad's mother, my Nana, stole one of those and it was in her apartment for years.
Oh my God.
I don't know how. She was like 4'11" and sort of built like Humpty Dumpty. I have no idea how she smuggled it out, but she kept a super creepy doll sitting in it the whole time. It was amazing.
Wow. I love her. I love her. I want to be her. That is.
Beverly lived a rich life. She was an exotic dancer in San Francisco in like the 40s and 50s when my dad came along.
Can we do a podcast episode about her?
Right. But we're doing Romancing the Stone.
Okay, next time. Those are the bonus content. That's the bonus content.
Patreon exclusive.
Exactly.
Yeah, I left movies. That's everything I learned from movies. Shots.
So any movie with a treasure map, though, I'm kind of enjoying it.
Yeah, so what I really like about this movie, just a few key changes. It is a very dark story. It's about her sister being kidnapped overseas in Colombia, where there's a revolution going on and drug dealers and I mean, okay, so let's say they recast Danny DeVito and his brother Ira, Rob Morris or whoever the actor is playing him or whatever, with, I don't know, guys similar to Zolo. And it's a lot darker tone because it's like, oh, we have your sister, we're going to kill her. It's not, we're going to chill with her on my yacht and wait 3 weeks or whatever time it takes for you to get here. Yeah.
And so, like, I actually, and maybe because now I know that this woman has passed away, but the script is at least certainly the beginning of it is pretty great because all these things get revealed. So like she has a meeting with her editor and there's this little detail that she goes, I know, you're worried about your sister. And she's like, did they find the body? And she's like, well, a part of it. And they're sitting in what looks like at first I thought it was a singles club, but then looks like a restaurant. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it looks like a hotel bar or something. Yeah.
Right, but it's like way overlit. I'm like, if you're gonna take her out, take her someplace like with decent. Well, it's Kathleen Turner. You should take her out with great lighting so everyone can look at her. But
that's what we call day drinking. You can't. It's hard to find a dark, dank bar when you're day drinking.
Yeah. I really appreciate. Oh no, it's not. It's really not. I could find a good.
Well, and if you're looking to pick up men, which I guess her editor, publisher, or whatever is looking to do, or it'll set her up with, I don't know, swarmy Wall Street types. But
right. Yeah, no, that was like that. But she lip slip basically like, yeah. So it's clear that he didn't die, in a car accident. Like he. It's already like the brutality.
Something happened in Colombia.
Right.
My guess, autoerotic asphyxiation.
Right. And then he's
they would have found the body.
But body parts.
Or at least a part.
Okay.
Well, that's what they said. They found the part.
Was anybody else thinking this was going to go that the husband was actually behind the whole heist and all of that? Like, that he faked his own death and mailed somebody else's body parts to her?
No, because I'd seen the movie when I was 10 and that just was not a part of my imagination. But
I had a sick imagination as a kid, but yeah. By the time I'd seen this, The Shining was required viewing and stuff. So
I was 9 or 10 or something, or I don't know, 11. I don't know, something in that range. So I
had definitely already seen Chinatown, which was wildly inappropriate.
I had not. Oh. But I'd seen some things that were wildly inappropriate, but yeah. So anyway, so Steve, what was it about the, you obviously picked it for our podcast, which has this, this romantic focus. And what was it about this story that when you were 10, obviously it's called Romancing the Stone.
It's in the title, so that's kind of a hint.
It's a natural.
But so is True Romance. So
coming last week.
Yeah,
exactly.
Woo!
Just
missed out on something that one. Stone, begins with stone. Well,
I guess the romantic part kind of comes in, towards the beginning of the second act when she's there's an attempt made on her life on the side of a road because the bus broke down and ran into Jack T. Burton's Jeep. But this mysterious stranger comes out of the jungle and saves her. And of course, it's Michael Douglas, and he's like, he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's like, whatever, I'm just trying to get some birds so I can get my boat and, sail out on my own and have my own adventure. And she's like, oh, well, isn't that lonely? Like, yeah, it's kind of the point. But then during their journey,
ironically enough, a woman who spends all of her time alone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, can't you guys be alone separately or together? No.
Yeah.
But yeah, just slowly but surely they start to realize, like, hey, this isn't that. This is somewhat compatico, and I kind of like this person, and then I guess to answer what I'm assuming your next question is when do they fall in love?
No, not yet. We don't.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Right. Well, yeah. Well, okay. Well, then fine. As a kid, I was like, okay, well, they didn't know each other, but under certain circumstances, they find out they fall in love, blah, blah, blah. That's all cool. I really liked it because it was kind of funny. It was kind of action packed. Like there's some great stunt things like in the jungle with the swinging on the vines, and there's alligators later and lots of gunplay and, for a PG movie, I mean, it's pretty action packed, and I mean, there's a little swearing, but it's like, it's comedic.
Yeah. So what was it like rewatching it as an adult?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie in like 25 years, even though I'd seen it 1,000 times up until 95 or so. But yeah, it was pretty. I was like, oh yeah, this is a great movie. I can almost recite this line for line still, and all the music beats and all that stuff. And
it's pretty impressive.
Did it feel? Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, like, one of my favorite parts, again, watching it was one of my favorite parts when I was a kid too, when they're in the village and they meet Juan and his little mule Pepe, and then go on a chase as he's like pointing out all the things, like, oh, you see that tree over there? My great grandmother planted that tree, and, as they're like being shot at by oh my gosh, militia, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Zolo.
Yeah, Zolo and his crew of revolutionaries, I guess.
I suppose. I mean, I was having a hard time, kind of getting through it, because I'm just like, okay, so you've got these bad guys over here, and then you got these bad guys over here, but then these bad guys are not doing the same thing, but they all want the map. And, I did appreciate when, that chase was going through, Juan was just like, well, these guys are really, really want to catch you. I'm like,
very persistent.
Thank you.
As like the gas tank in the back of his Jeep explodes. Like, whoa.
It's okay. It's fireproof.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, obviously it's kind of extreme, but, it's like the 80s in Colombia. The, cocaine was pretty insane.
Tell us about it, Paulina.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experiences with cocaine in the 80s. We'll wait.
And Colombia.
Oh yeah. It's in like whatever 5th grade or whatever it is that when you're.
Well, obviously your parents were very hip in the scene.
Have you seen the end of Scarface? It was like that.
Yeah.
It was with pixie sticks, but it was like that.
Actually, okay. Now that you say it, I do.
Doesn't matter.
Who's not people
would talk about cocaine constantly in the 80s, like on TV, in movies. It was like, I mean, and so I remember people literally like play snorting either pixie sticks or like powdered sugar. Like
it was in play. They were literally snorting it.
I mean, yes, you're right. But like, as to the play was like, you're impersonating cocaine, which is like ridiculous. Like, everyone thought it was hysterical.
Of course, being the son of the cop that I was growing up, like kids would do that, and my dad would kind of like laugh and go, honestly, cocaine's probably better for you than snorting that stuff.
I was going to say, Steve, I know you definitely didn't go to any parties where you were disappointed because the adults had been
was totally powdered sugar.
Donuts.
They were snorting. It's perfectly fine. I mean, what's the statute of limitations?
I mean, I am talking about my 1980 self, the 10-year-old self. But people don't like me on uppers. So
hang on. I was talking about my 3 months ago self when I was watching the R-rated movie and snorting pixie sticks.
It's probably not good. Citric acid can't do good things to your nasal passages. It really can't.
Okay, so I want to raise my hand because we started talking about cocaine. There actually isn't any cocaine in this movie, is there?
No, they replace it with marijuana.
Yep.
I know.
It's implied.
Statute of limitations.
Tons and tons of marijuana.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
does this remind you of something about the 80s and marijuana that you did, Paulina?
No, wait. There was cocaine in this movie.
Our marijuana was not worth like doing anything with.
It was oregano.
It pretty much was. It was oregano. But I totally forgot. I didn't understand that I did not understand when I saw it when I was a kid that they were hotboxing inside the plane. So at some point they find a plane that had crashed that was smuggling marijuana and like lots of it. And basically, it's raining. So they take shelter in there and they use it to light a fire. And so they're basically drinking tequila and hotboxing inside a plane, which I did not get at all. I thought she was just very tired when she passed out. I mean, she was.
Yeah.
But
she could have been drunk.
Yeah.
Well, and also just, I mean, they could have been burning anything if the smoke isn't getting out. That's why you stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
but they were definitely puff passing, and Steve knew that as a kid. So
I gotta say that is one thing I'll give my parents. Like when we watched this, I was like, "Mom, why why, why are they burning the bags of stuff and why are they complaining? She goes, oh, they're high. And I remember her saying something along the lines of, marijuana's super fun. Just make sure you bring home enough to share.
My mother said one thing about marijuana to me, and because I think also like she grew up in the Soviet Union, there just wasn't a lot of marijuana.
She was exactly like, get your hands off my marijuana. That's the one thing she told me.
Basically, no. And so I don't think, but she wouldn't tell me anyway. But I remember she said once when she was drunk, she said, my mother talks like this. She goes, well, I took marijuana. She's like, I smoked some marijuana and I won't do it again. I liked it too much. Which is how my mother says everything. And then that's it. You never get any more explanation. That's all you get.
Did she have the back of her hand to her forehead as she said it?
Possibly. My mom is she has this very charming sort of.
I enjoyed Crystal Light, but I liked it too much. I enjoyed butt play, but I enjoyed it too much.
Pretty much.
It gave me too much joy.
I'll give you guys the drug talk my dad gave me real quick.
Okay.
He was sitting in his chair, probably more than a few beers in, and was like, heroin will kill you and pot'll make you fat. Don't do it.
That's actually pretty good.
That's pretty good drug advice.
I think my parents were just like, I think they never gave me a drug talk because I think they were like, one, because like the whole like drug thing was kind of everywhere and they thought it was ridiculous. It was more like complicated, intricate discussions about the financial and logistical implications of the war on drugs, which also happened in the 80s, where we had lovely quotes where you got like things like hugs, not drugs. Like, wait, what? Like those two are equivalent.
Red Ribbon Week, where you wear your little red bracelet to prove you're not going to do drugs.
Oh, we didn't even have that.
When I went to school, we did that. Did anybody else do that?
I mean, it worked for me. I still have my ribbon. I earned it.
Yeah.
I think my parents were like, they were all about like, you can do anything in moderation. Like that was the parents' whole thing. I don't think they really got it because, as I said, there wasn't a ton of drugs in. Anyway, I think they were like, they didn't seem to worry about it, which is weird because it was the 80s and that's all was on television and was like, drugs, say no to drugs.
Yeah, my dad had toured with bands in the 60s through England, so he was like, no, you're going to come across drugs, just, whatever, be smart if you're going to do it. Yeah. Bring it home if it's good.
Yeah, my parents, the second part of that message, but the first part, definitely, they're like, yeah, you're probably going to do something, just,
Well, at least you haven't escalated to kidnapping like Danny DeVito and Ira did.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why drugs are bad.
Yeah, drugs just lead to kidnapping. It's a gateway.
Yeah, you get high and then you get kidnapped.
and a weird obsession with crocodiles.
Look at those snappers.
Look at the snappers on that guy.
Snappers.
Yeah.
Question I wanted to ask. So, Izzy, you brought up the whole like, did anyone think that maybe there was like, the husband would be in on this type of thing? I didn't have that moment, but I had a different moment where I'm just like, does anyone know what this treasure actually is? Like, is this like a metaphor for like the spirit within or something? Because you can't cash that out. So,
well, yeah, you can't like give that to someone else.
Yeah, thanks to the treasure map, we know they're not in search of the treasure of One-Eyed Willie, like they are in Goonies, but instead it's El Corazon, the heart.
The heart.
But the heart of what? Dun, dun, dun. We find out it's basically a giant emerald hidden in a ceramic bunny. What?
Okay, so every single time I watch this just proves I'm the generation who grew up with Antiques Roadshow. I want the bunny to be the thing that was worth it, and it's like, I want the twist at the end to be, this is made of glass. That rabbit was worth $35,000. It was a misprint hand painted by Hitler himself.
Wow. When he escaped to Colombia. Oh, you didn't know about that? Well,
I mean, definitely some Nazis ended up in Colombia.
The antiques community is a tight web of secrets.
The thing that stuck out, because I think I just loved this movie, and I have to say, like, to me, this was the romance of it was the thing the action and the romance was the thing I remembered from watching it the first time. But like the two things that I was obsessed with watching it the second time is the clothes that she brought and the shoes. Like even now, I'm like, even when they took the heel off, I'm like, those still, I could not get through the jungle wearing even those flats.
Oh, or like, the Uniqlo jacket that she was wearing in the beginning. Like, why would you bring a jacket to Colombia?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I assume that's maybe maybe it was cold in New York when she was flying there or whatever, right. But yeah, you put that in the suitcase.
Okay, so two things on the shoes. One, I think this proves that Kathleen Turner is more woman than any of us will be because she keeps those shoes on the whole movie.
Good point. Yep.
Secondly,
no. Well,
that's not how high heels work. Those are still not functional at all. But right. I kept watching them to see if they were going to turn into just like regular flats. They keep the look of them pretty much through the whole movie. So back to Kathleen Turner is more woman than I will ever be.
I know, and that's actually what my mother was one of those women that I never saw out of heels until the aerobics revolution. And then she would wear like the Reebok sneakers, that were high.
Yeah.
I thought she upgraded to platforms, but go on.
Well, no, I mean, that's what she wore like when we would go on walks were platforms. But she was like one of those women that can run for a bus on cobblestone streets wearing like 3-inch heels. And she would complain that the sneakers were uncomfortable because, of course, if you wear heels your whole life, like the back of your calf tightens. So
your Achilles tendon actually shortens.
Right. And my mother's one of those women. And so I was like, she actually made a joke about like she's like, she destroyed. I remember when the Italian heel thing happened, she literally grabbed my hand and went,
so she was who that scene was for. That's totally. the real drama.
Yeah. And I, shout out to the writer. Yeah. She was like, I'm like, so the other scenes didn't grab you, but the fact that someone's destroying a pair of Italian shoes is like devastating to you. Okay.
Well, it's like any Star Wars movie when they blow up a planet. It's just like, how sad. And then someone dies right in front of you. It's like, no, 45 minutes of sadness.
That Ewok.
Right.
Oh, no, Steve, why would you bring that up?
That Ewok was going to eat them.
That's right. He's going to grow up to be a Wookiee. That's how it works, right?
I mean, if you've seen the holiday special.
I have.
Yeah, thanks to me. That's why he married me. I am arguably the only person on the planet with worse taste in movies than him.
I remember kind of liking Battle for Endor when I was like 3 years old, so yeah. I'm kind of curious to watch it as an adult.
Yes, I've not seen that since I was a kid. But that is not Romancing the Stone.
No.
Or is it?
Although both I think were released in 1984. Boom.
It's the sequel.
Romancing the Ewok. Ew, no.
Again,
it took me so long to figure out I wasn't supposed to like Ewoks because I saw them at 10, like when, around, probably around, maybe even before. What year did Empire Strikes? 83. Yeah. So I was like 9 or 10 or something. And I wanted an Ewok more than I seriously wanted anything in my life.
Well, you're in the demographic, of course. Yeah. I mean,
they made it for me. Right.
I take exception to the idea of, I didn't realize until I was older I was supposed to hate this thing. I'm like, are we talking about Hitler? Because that's fine.
Yeah, no, wait. We're supposed to hate the Ewoks? I was not born when that movie came out, so I was born into being the target demographic. I always liked the Ewoks, and I remember everybody was like, well, they eat people, and I'm like, good, that makes them even better.
I know. I was
They're like adorable grizzly bears.
They're
pint-sized grizzlies.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take them home so badly.
Yeah, and then they could eat the neighbor.
And I was so
Perfect.
disappointed.
It's a win-win.
I was disappointed with the stuffed animal because it was like just not the same.
Because it didn't pull a spear on you and say,
Right. I mean, what's the fun in that?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember seeing the stuffies. I never had one, but I remember thinking like, oh, that's not an Ewok.
Yeah. I mean, my mother never bought one for me because I don't know. They were cheap.
She was buying heels.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we didn't have a ton of money, and I thought they thought they were ridiculous. I think she was probably waiting for them to go on sale because that's how kids work. Like their desires also wait until things go on sale. But
wait, are we still talking about heels or Ewoks?
Ewoks.
Can't it be both?
Oh yeah.
And she also waited for heels to go on sale, but those are for her.
What I think is great is that so far in this movie, we've talked about Kathleen Turner, a little bit of Michael Douglas hotboxing, and then the movie ends.
Yeah. Wait, is that not the movie we watched?
I'm like, was there other things?
I mean,
that won't get covered by the 2 questions we will ask later.
I don't know. See,
I seem to remember somebody's hand being bitten off by an alligator with a snappers.
That was just as brutal as I remember.
Yeah.
Wow,
and then he set on fire later. Yeah.
So horrifying. I had nightmares after that because that's one of my worst. That's one of my like huge anxieties and fears is being burned alive.
I have my hand up right there. Okay, so are you talking about when you rewatched this movie or when the first time you saw it?
No, the first time I saw it.
Okay, because
this time also.
Oh no, because I literally had a nightmare the next day, and I wrote it down because damn it, Steve and Izzy, I had this dream where my hand got chopped off.
Oh no!
Wow.
And I woke up in the morning and I'm just like, I don't feel happy. And I don't know why, because I dreamed that my hand was chopped off. Ah!
What, chopped off like with a machete or by an alligator?
No, an alligator wasn't involved, but I definitely. Well, actually, here's what's upsetting about it is that like the whole getting your hand severed thing was incorporated into my dream. But I think what upset me even worse is the fact that I was trying to go to Kaiser and my copay just gone up. And I was debating if it was worth it because there was no guarantee that they would be able to put my hand back on. So
hashtag adult dreams.
Yeah,
wow.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I always thought when I was an adult, my dreams would be like, "Dear Penthouse Forum, I never thought it could happen to me." But yeah, it's usually the I don't know, neurotic making a copay dreams. And
Right. Diana, like, yeah, I feel you so much. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh,
I had a dream the other day that we didn't clear an Airbnb properly, and the woman came after me at my work.
with a machete?
Yes.
No,
And an alligator.
that would have been exciting. No, it was like literally, it was just one of those like dreams where you feel like you're running all night, and it was just like she just reprimanded me in front of my boss, and it was embarrassing. Like, like a machete would have been thrilling.
Ugh.
Well, then see, with like my version of that dream is she would show up with a machete and a treasure map, like, all right, you got to pay me back now. Let's do this.
Can I ask, Steve has great dreams. As somebody who only has nightmares, Steve has great dreams.
Oh,
We got to do our dream journal episodes again.
I know.
Bring
Those are
those
fun.
back. Bring
that
those
sounds
back.
amazing. I have the most.
Well, maybe our Patreon exclusive. No, anyway.
Take a shot.
If I had a dream journal podcast, people would use it to fall asleep. Like they're just like, it's like, oh, it's just a replay of that argument I had at work.
That's an entire podcast industry now.
That's true.
People listening to podcasts to fall asleep.
One I use regularly.
Steve and Izzy's True Dream Podcast.
Oh, just talk really slowly. So when you're looking at like Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas, do you feel like it's
Aroused.
dated?
Oh,
Either of them, and this is kind of that they were kind of at the height of their powers or close to it.
well, 35 years will date us all, Paulina.
Tell me about it.
I mean, Michael Douglas's
no
dad
longer
just
have
had
the
his
skin of a
103rd
10-year-old.
birthday, so
Right? Congratulations, Kirk.
Good job.
he can't be killed by mortal weapons. And Kathleen Turner, like I've seen her in things, and man, someone should have told her to stop smoking. But Still
like,
amazing.
you
But
see their attractiveness. I don't mean
yeah, of course.
I don't mean, I'm not asking you to grade her right
Yeah.
now. Saying,
I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding your question.
You're not grading how they
35 years
aged.
later.
When I look back at 1985, Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, have they aged? No, because they're on film.
No, but I mean, like just that kind, the movie and that kind of
Do
attractiveness.
you think their relationship in that is dated, or do you feel like it rings true?
I think it's amazing, and more movies should be like it.
Yeah.
I really can't think of an action romance movie since then that is half as good as Romancing the Stone. Like, I'm trying to think of other ones I thought were all right, and it's like Bird on a Wire was kind of fun, but that was like 88 or 89 when that came out. I mean,
Is that Mel Gibson?
Yeah, Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. Check it out.
How's the mullet?
It's 1988, 89. I mean,
excellent.
Spectacular.
I mean, Roadhouse is kind of an action romance. No.
Alrighty.
I feel like this. I think you're right, because I feel like this movie actually all the action sort of feels like it comes out of an organic place. It surprises you, even if you've seen it. I mean, granted, I have a terrible memory, and it has been 35 years since I've seen it. But like the relationship until I would say the end, it all makes sense. Like there's no
it doesn't seem forced. Yeah.
No.
Like it just kind of naturally grows, and yeah, it's not like, flick of a switch and it's like, oh, okay, now they're in love, totally get it, blah blah blah, and they're joking and they know each other's deepest darkest thing. No, it's a thing where it's like, all right, you're physically attractive, we have these amazing adventures, and then we dance in Cartagena or whatever city they were in at the time, and boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great movie that's an example of it plays by the rules it sets up in its own universe.
Yes.
Like, there's so many movies that, like, they set up rules of their universe, like, is it really quirky? Is it really high concept? Whatever. Is it a little cartoony? Is it super serious? And then they break those rules, and that's when things feel really forced and not realistic and out of character. This movie, everybody their characters are all a little bit exaggerated, and so when a little bit wilder things happen, it doesn't seem out of place, because you've developed this whole world where, like we talked about, even the publisher is like a little bit more eccentric than like a real publisher would be.
Sure.
But it works.
Have you met a lot of publishers?
I haven't, but I don't know. Just everybody seems a little eccentric, so you can go a little bit wilder and all that. They also didn't try and do the thing where romance movies do, where it's like, I hate you, you're the worst. Oh no, you picked me up when I tripped, so now I have to give you a blowjob.
Or it's like The Secret, they can't tell them for whatever reason. Or like I'm trying to think of like recent action romances that have kind of been forced upon the viewing public, and the one that jumped in my head for whatever reason, Passengers.
Didn't watch it.
Space Rape. You guys seen that movie? I haven't seen it either, but yeah.
I'm about to say, haven't seen it, heard the thing, don't feel great.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, that's what action romance, like, oh yeah, they fall in love because betrayal. If you have a good action romance recommendation out there, please let me know. In the meantime, check out our 2019 Movie of the Year action romance, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, their love cannot be stopped.
But Steve, will they ever get past their differences?
Only the sequel will tell.
Is that the one where they go to space, or do we have to wait for one more before they go to space?
No, I think when Hobbs and Shaw fell in love was when they were on the island of Samoa. And
they just sunk a submarine. What?
Wait, you know what? We'll save that for another episode.
It's true,
though. Will Idris squash their love?
I think he's going to get in on it.
Yeah, he's going to come back in, and it's going to be the awkward love triangle thing, and then someone's going to have to throw down the ultimatum, but it's either them or me.
Then we just introduced the word throuple.
It's either him or me or my sister. You gotta choose.
She's getting weird in the Fast and Furious universe.
That's a gross throuple.
That is a gross throuple. I can't think about it. I think it may be time. It may be time to ask the questions, get the answers, the questions everyone wants to know.
What were they thinking? No, wait. That's a different thing.
Well, that. When do you think they fell in love, Steve? We'll start with you since it's your movie.
Well, I think I know the exact moment. It's when they were in. I watching it this time. I couldn't tell if they were in Cartagena or just a nearby city, but they're kind of on the run. But it's the night they're having that like festival or just some sort of dance thing going on, and Michael Douglas, he shows up wearing the white suit, white outfit. I don't know, looking like a goddamn pirate or something. And she's in a dress.
He looks like a waiter in like the Mexican restaurants of my youth.
He totally does. Like he should be having the sash like a flamenco dancer and all that.
He's the head of a mariachi band.
Yeah, but they dance. The music swells. There's the random ass fireworks 10 feet behind them because it's the 80s and that means sparks are flying. Get it?
Yeah.
And then boom, they kiss and then go straight to Pound Town.
Woo! Boom. Just like a real relationship.
That's right. Oh, and then of course, then he shares the dream like, hey, maybe you can come on my dreamboat with me. We can travel the world and be on adventures like the sequel, Jewel of the Nile. Steve's pretty sure he hasn't even seen.
I was going to ask, but that we can save that for the next segment.
Do you think that's the same time for both of them, or?
Yeah, I think so. Like there's like implication before, like where they're like kind of thinking about it, like, oh, who's this guy, blah blah blah. But that's really when it's like, all right, yeah, she's into me, I'm into her. Let's get into each other. I don't know, babe. What do you think from a woman's perspective?
I think, yes, that's when they both sort of like come to the agreement that like, hey, this thing is happening. But I think like it's sort of the seeds for it get planted when they kind of have their bonding moment when they're really high over the fire. Like that's true, yeah. That's sort of where it's like, oh, okay, she's not as awful as she sort of appeared when we were running from drug lords through the forest. And she's like, oh yeah, he's not bad for an animal smuggler.
Yeah, when the inhibitions are down, they tend to, loosen up a bit and let the real people come out. What does the T stand for? Trust me. That's right.
Oh, God. Jesus. If I had $1 for every man who told me that.
Jesus doesn't even start with the T.
Polina, who has ever told you that?
Just kidding. Or something similar, but yes.
I was going to say, are you going to mock the name of our next child?
You mean goat?
What's the T stand for? Trustworthiness.
Damn sure it stands for Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I've met you people. Like, no, don't believe you.
You don't believe we would name a child after a character from a movie?
No, I believe that, but I don't believe the name.
Cameron, Poe, come here.
Pickles Cage, where are you?
Castor Troy. Oh,
R.I.P.
How about you, Diana?
Me? Okay. So while I have, I agree with what both Steve and Izzy said about, the budding romance of it, and then like the romantic feelings happening in the dance scene. All there, I'm on board. However, I think that while that was like the kind of, wonderful growth of their relationship, I think the solidification of it, because there was still just a little bit of uncertainty and a little bit of betrayal, but not really betrayal because of that stupid map, and a little bit of a con on his part that Danny DeVito calls out, which I thought was actually kind of an interesting scene there. I think the reality of it, the reality of the whole when did they fall in love is actually just on Jack's side. When he is wrestling an alligator. Is it alligator or crocodile?
Alligator.
Alligator, thank you. I can never tell the difference.
It's a snapper.
Well, they're both snappy. Wait, that's a fish. Never mind.
Well, their mouths were closed.
Very tasty.
That's how you tell the difference, supposedly.
What's that?
That, like, crocodiles, like, when they're at rest, have a larger, like their mouths are open or appear open, and in alligators they're closed.
Yeah, I'm not going to test this theory in real life.
No, you shouldn't. But
Okay.
In case
Okay, so as Jack is wrestling said alligator, and it came down to let go of the jewel, or go rescue the woman. I mean, and this isn't just like a basic damsel thing either. She is literally about to die and be attacked. I think his moment was when he actually let the riches go.
Well, and I think you got an interesting point there, Diana, because that moment he definitely was in love, because he did the stupid thing and tried to climb the wall as opposed to walking 10 feet to the right and to go up there.
Right.
But yeah.
I thought was actually a brilliant little comedic move, right? Which
Love is blind, especially to wheelchair ramps.
Aw.
What about her and him? Diana?
For her. Okay. So I'm going to assume when she has rescued her sister, all of a sudden it's time. I actually really enjoy the tension of that scene, because it's just like, aha, you have given us the map, and now you are free to go.
You and your sister can go.
It's a good scene, and I thought it was really cool. So so I think it's when he reappears, and when he says to her, I told you I'd meet you back at the hotel. You weren't there. And so it's all of her uncertainty just kind of flew away. And then, of course, it gets instantly smashed when she realized that he has been captured by, the other villain. But it was there. It was there. They're back together.
Ooh, I just had an interesting thought, but I'll wait till Paulina.
No, go.
I was thinking, like, because after the whole thing, like, they get separated when the police show up and, take Zolo and I guess Zolo's dead, but everybody else gets taken away and all that. But Jack's gone too. And so it's like, oh no, he's gone. He really was just trying to screw me over and take the jewel. But then, I don't know, months later when she's in New York and he shows up with his dream boat and his new gator skin boots, and it's like, oh, you came back for me. Maybe that's the moment where they know for sure all the uncertainty and everything's out, and they go off into the sunset / closed road in New York, which I'm sure caused hella traffic for everybody.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. Like that kind of killed it. I find it interesting because actually I think what makes this movie effective for me is that it's not, until like that very last scene, from her perspective, and frankly, most of the movie happens from her perspective. You don't get this thing where she's like, this is it. This is the love of my life. Like, she understands that this is, I think where the conflict comes in with herself is that she's like, oh, this is just like the thing that I write about, but it's not quite real. And I think for him, I think you're right. Like the building, I feel like this is one of those movies where there's all these little moments where you see them like basically building a foundation. And I think one of the ones for him, I think, is that when she starts, like when she really starts to embrace like what is happening and becomes not a burden, but a partner. Like when she, like basically they tell you that she's terrified of flying heights and everything, right?
Yeah.
But to save her sister, she's willing to like dismiss all that, right? And at one point she ends up basically accidentally having to, to basically Tarzan her way across this thing. And the fact that she just
she would be Jane in the situation, but go on.
Right. Well,
no, she's Tarzaning it because she's not riding on his back.
Exactly. She's totally Tarzaning it. And she just like does it by herself and just like basically lands and is like, okay, let me respond. And then there's another scene in which she ends up basically driving the Jeep. He's just like, kind of freaked out. He doesn't really know what to do. He's like, I'm going to try to hotwire. I'm going to do this, do that. And she's like, I'm just going to drive.
But she says, well, have you tried the key?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then after that, I think it's after that. Now I'm remembering, but it's like before.
Yeah, it was the little Peugeot car or whatever, Danny DeVito's car, because he was sleeping in the back. That's right.
But I did love that thing where she's like, why are you trying to hotwire it? There's a key right there.
Yeah.
And the fact that he sort of like looks at her like, oh, she's a partner. And then also when she meets up with, the bandits, and they're like, oh my God, you're this. She's like, oh my God, you're this like great. There's this writer. We love you. And
you John
like,
Wilder?
Yeah. Oh God, I love that scene so much.
Yeah.
Like, just the sense that she is, when he stops sort of thinking of her as the damsel in distress that he's being paid for and starts seeing her as this partner in both survival and that she's super capable, and she's also this admired person. I mean, I think when one of this kind of signs of when you realize you're falling in love with somebody is that feeling when the like sheer delight of watching somebody else see them, or watching them be admired, not just like for their acumen and their abilities. It's like this thing of like, it's such an exciting moment. And I felt like he really had that at that moment, that she was like, he's like, oh, and it's sort of, I don't think it just dawned on him, but I think it was like after this, watching this kind of woman emerge where she was sort of scared and just becoming, hyper competent, and watching her be competent, and then seeing this other side of her, like, oh yeah, she's also this, well respected, or famous writer.
She's accomplished.
Accomplished, yeah, like an accomplished writer who's successful, and people love her books, and just his sort of pleasure in watching that is, I think, a moment. But I think for her, I think it's kind of a buildup of many things, but it's also realizing that frankly, Diana, you kind of stole it. Like,
how dare
I
you,
think
Diana?
before
how
she,
dare you?
right? Yeah, how dare you? But I mean, it's kind of the right moment. Like, I think for her, it's much kind of later. Like, she thinks this is an experience, but she doesn't trust it until she sees him in that,
By the way, does anybody else really love the idea of all the banditos in that little town meeting on Saturday nights and reading romance novels?
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah, drinking a little bit of, I don't know, what's the grappo, whatever the grape, grape hooch is. Yeah.
I went to Colombia a couple of years ago, and I'm trying to remember what they were talking about. But anyway, and they stayed in Cartagena.
Nice.
Yeah, looked amazing. They didn't run into, a lot of alligators, so that was, good for them.
Well, they tend to keep them out of the streets in the city.
Yeah, it's good.
That's helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Any other questions? What's up?
Yes. Always. What do you think happens next?
Jewel of the Nile. No.
Yeah,
cheater.
Well, true. Yeah, babe, what do you think happens to them after they go off into the sunset on their dreamboat?
Yeah, I see this going the direction of like an Indiana Jones movie, where not that they're gonna like settle down a little house and have a bunch of kids, and not that they're gonna have a big blowout and never speak to each other again, but sort of they'll have a couple of adventures together, they'll go their separate ways, do their own thing, but every couple of years they meet up and like, hey, Are you in? You want to join the gang?
We'll see. I see him traveling the world, and yeah, they stumble upon these wonderful adventures and everything, and I don't know, maybe they search for the Holy Grail. Well, little things like that. But I see him sticking in the long run. And then, passing the reins of the franchise on to Shia LaBeouf, as silly franchises try to do for some reason.
But when you say they're sticking it out, what does their life look like? Gotta give us more than this, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Occasionally they stop at various tropical islands to, chill for a couple months before braving the cruel mistress that is the ocean to get to their next adventure, perhaps in Alaska, in search of great salmon for the rest of their journey to Cabo. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The dream. Good. The dream, man. I mean, things pop up. Do I expect them to turn to a perfect storm and then all is lost when it's like, oh no, I've lost her. Wilson, come back.
I love that movie. I really genuinely do. I even like the book.
That's the sequel, Wilson of the Nile. Michael Douglas gets shipwrecked. Kathleen Turner gets shipwrecked on a separate island, but with their 2 kids, and it becomes Blue Lagoon.
Whoa.
Yeah, Castaway and Blue Lagoon. That's where the
I like Perfect Storm. I didn't like Castaway, so but that's me. I have terrible taste in movies.
Yeah, agreed.
Just rolled my eyes the whole time, but I loved it.
Whoa. If this is going to be the Blue Lagoon.
Oh, by the way, Castaway, directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, right. That's right. No, that's an excellent point. But no. Wait, no, I have an important question. So, no, if it's going to be the Blue Lagoon, what is she going to be doing with those kids? What are those kids going to be doing with each other?
Have you seen Blue Lagoon, or better yet, our commentary on Return to Blue Lagoon, available exclusively on patreon.com/EILF movies for just $2 a month now.
Fiction?
The same kind of stuff that happens in the Bible,
Oh.
No.
Death? Pestilence?
All the same stuff?
Well...
Like locusts?
Siblings begetting siblings?
How familiar are you with royal bloodlines?
Wait. Anyway.
How about Skywalkers?
Jesus. I wish I hadn't asked for more information. Now you ruined it for me.
No, this is all Polina's fault. Excellent.
Diana, what about you?
Well, hold on one second. Izzy, do you have anything you would like to add?
Shoot. Sorry, we missed Izzy.
Well, no, she started with the whole Indiana Joneses.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've got one more thing if you guys want to come back later, but please go first.
No, I have to know.
Oh, damn it. Okay, well...
Well, no, I don't have to force your hand.
All right, well, here it is. The other way it could go is, after a couple years at sea, they start getting a little older, and they realize, all right, we need to settle down somewhere. So they... get a nice palatial apartment in New York because they found so many treasures over the years, blah, blah, blah. And then Jack T. Colton starts running for political office because the T stands for trustworthy.
Okay.
And then
that's the one.
President Jack T. Colton, 1996.
Oh, nice. You know what? Finally,
we're gonna skip it.
Trust.
We're gonna skip it forward a few years. Jack T. Colton, 2016. All is saved.
If only. I love how we're watching this the night of the presidential debate, one of the Democratic debates. We're recording this. So. I just imagine him up on the stage with Elizabeth Warren.
Well, no. See, now I have to know, because if he did run in 96 and if he does get elected, is he going to be like all of that hot boxing he did? Is that going to be brought up?
Of course.
Well, it got brought up with Clinton.
Well, that's exactly
my joke, honey.
Yeah, I got a good one.
Ooh, maybe instead of Al Gore, we have Jack T. Colton as vice president running with Bill Clinton, and then
a hot.
That was my father's.
And then they call it the greenhouse. Boom, nailed it.
Nice. My father's reason for hating Clinton is he said, well, Democrats are wasteful. Clinton is a good example. Why didn't he inhale? That's a waste. So,
excellent point.
That's an excellent point. I can't argue. But you
never hear of a Republican wasting cocaine or hookers.
No, certainly not.
In that order.
Occasionally wasting hookers. Don't worry about it.
Why did we get so political?
It's the tides.
Romancing the polls.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm wondering if next time we should be doing The American President starring Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas in that betting. That's a good one.
Nothing will stop. I mean, why not?
Ooh, or better yet, Dave.
Those are both on my list.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are.
Let's do it.
Well,
okay.
I mentioned it one time, and you got very upset with me.
Yeah? What did I get upset about?
It was either Dave or The American President. You said, I'm not watching that.
I've watched Dave. So can't have been that. I think it might have been The American President.
Yeah,
could have been a bad time. What?
Yeah, one of the two.
I'm sorry. It was definitely not Dave. I'm sorry if it was The American President. I will watch it. And because you've broken me. And and okay, so I guess it's your turn, Diana.
Yeah, come on, Diana. What you got?
My turn. Okay, so in the beginning, my first thought was, oh, this seems like this could go really well, except one of two things is going to happen. Either he can't handle living in her world, or she can't handle living in his world. So we have to find some sort of middle there. So presumably the idea is that he wants to go off and sail the world because that's what he's wanted this whole time. But that's kind of difficult because the assumption might be like, well, she can ride anywhere. Why doesn't she just go and do the thing and do the thing? And then he can do his thing and she can do her thing. But there's going to be resentment there. There has to be, because there's this assumption. It's just like, yeah, just leave your whole life. You can ride anywhere. Like, what makes you think I can just drop all of this because I can ride anywhere? I have meetings. I have to promote. I have to do this. I have to do that. Okay, fine. Let's go. And so he starts to live with her, and he's just kind of tired because she has all this prestige. See, in the outside world, when it's saving their ass and all the fandom is beneficial to him, eventually that little gem money is going to run out. So he really doesn't have anything to stand on. So there's going to be a bit of tension. So ultimately what's going to happen is that he's going to be able to go off and sail by himself, but he's going to find out that it's just not quite the same without her. So there's going to be kind of like this separation, and in the end, they are going to come back together. I think.
Ooh, or.
Yes, I'm listening.
He hits a nasty storm and is lost for however many years. And so she buys a remote lighthouse on the coast, a la The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, and spends the rest of her days just waiting for him to come back. Or perhaps his ghost, who knows?
They don't call it a widow's walk for nothing.
I was about to say, wait, so if he dies, will he come back as a ghost?
I mean, only time will tell, Diana.
Only time will tell.
That doesn't seem to me the waiting type.
She doesn't seem like the waiting type?
No.
Did you not watch
I think she'll...
but I mean, like, 15 minutes of this movie?
Well, and she has Romeo the cat, well, at least for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, like, I think she'll go on with her writing.
Well, of course, but these strong emotional things that happen when you lose your husband, God damn it, they, they maybe it's her romance gets a little grittier, a little more darker into the human condition.
Right. It actually improves her writing, and she breaks through into the mainstream.
Wait, so am I still doing what I think happens next?
Oh, yes,
right.
yes. Sorry.
And she breaks into the mainstream by making
literary fiction,
a story of wizards, English wizards.
She gets shortlisted for a Man Booker or something.
Has anyone seen the movie She-Devil?
I think so.
Roseanne Barr. God damn it, cat. Sorry,
yes, sir, I got a cat.
Stupid cat bumping microphones, because why not?
If you hear a tiny chainsaw in the background, that would be Poe.
Aww.
Not Paulina, just Poe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have, my apartment's not big enough to have a chainsaw. A tiny chainsaw. Okay, so Diana.
So anyone see the movie She-Devil?
No.
Probably once.
Once, but I barely remember it.
So in the end, the experiences of the movie made it so romance novelist Meryl Streep ultimately starts writing a little bit more quote unquote serious stuff based off of like an actual failed relationship.
Yeah.
So her writing could take a turn and still be considered to be, good, but taken seriously by quote unquote real authors. I take exception to that, but at the same time, though.
I mean, I do too. Like to clarify, like I shouldn't say mainstream. I really mean like, I don't know. She'll get kind of, like sort of literary fiction. Because that kind of pisses me off too. Like
she starts writing murder mysteries.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say, I got it. They have a terrible breakup. She becomes Sue Grafton. I don't know if you guys know Sue Grafton, but she wrote the A is for Alibi in that. She started that because she was writing up lists of ways to kill her ex-husband.
A is for alligator.
And then she started writing up ways she would get caught if she had tried to kill him that way.
Yes, very nice.
Clever.
That is great. Well, Diana's note is great, and I did not know that about Sue Grafton.
Yeah, so she becomes a murder mystery novelist, and I mean, obviously we know ladies only read murder mysteries and real crime dramas.
Well, especially when they're cat murder mysteries.
Oh my gosh, they're cat murder mysteries!
Starring Romeo
the cat!
There we go.
Aww. I was worried in the beginning when the place got ransacked. I'm like, where's the cat? Where's the cat? Where's the cat?
Romeo?
The cat was fine.
I was not worried.
Oh, Steve.
Says the guy who apologizes when he bumps the cats on the bed.
I do.
So you think so, Diana? So we left it at your, like she basically uses it to sort of her kind of shift her writing a little bit, and then what happens?
That's when the money rolls in.
Yeah, because there's so much more money in literary fiction than there is in romance novels.
All those royalties.
I don't know. Last I heard, she was in a lighthouse somewhere.
Yeah.
She's still writing.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I mean, you can write in a lighthouse. It's a great place to write.
Why does everyone assume that you can write anywhere? Yes, you can, but that doesn't mean you can do it well.
Yeah,
I'm writing right now on a podcast.
No, you know what? I'm with Diana on this. She has a palatial estate in the middle of New York. She's not giving that up. That's rent control, obviously.
Oh,
Damn right.
Yeah, no. And actually, Diana, you'll be happy that's in my future. That is a big thing. So basically, she's just written the book, so she's got some time, right? Like after this happens, she's got some time. She doesn't, it hasn't gone to print. It's like she doesn't have to do interviews, so they go off, and enjoy themselves. Like at first, it's amazing. They're sailing, the sailing works great, but after a while she starts they separate for her having, for her doing some promotion and all that. And mostly I think that's for her. Like she's like, I need a little space. These are people who are used to spending a lot of time alone. It's kind of being stuck in a small boat suddenly is going to be a lot. So once it's going to be a year of just like amazingness, and then it's just going to get super irritating. And the other thing is she needs a lot of time and privacy to write her books. I totally agree with you. You can write anywhere, but she needs some conditions of silence, or not even silent, but she has all the notes in her apartment. She has music that she needs to listen to. She's uninterrupted. When you're on a boat, he's going to be constantly can you do this? We need to do this. Sails up, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's going to create a huge amount of tension, and basically they're going to have a horrific breakup.
And that's when she gets into the world of street racing.
And then, but then they kind of come back to he's going to get itchy, And I think that
it's called syphilis.
Exactly.
They have
Because, you know,
and
they
he
broke
poured a
up.
storm, and she's been gone for a year.
And I think that, like, so anyway, they, I think that they'll do, you know, he'll come to New York, like Diana said, and when he comes back to New York, they're gonna like rekindle those feelings, and then again, it's gonna get, you know, boring for him in his life, and this is a cycle, I think, continue just for a little bit until basically she I kind of have a little more like a twist on the whole like where it changes her writing. I think that at some point she's going to be like, I'm super bored writing about these people only at this point of the relationship, like the kind of super exciting part. And what I'm really interested in is basically, you know, how do you really have a relationship? And I think that like she doesn't quite ever figure out how to monetize that. But basically at some point they meet up again, they go on this amazing trip somewhere, and then they go, where were we the happiest? And they remember that village near Cartagena, because I think it is a village outside of Cartagena, and basically go there, and they kind of like realize they can use their money to make that community better.
Oh.
And that becomes the adventure for them.
And they meet up with Juan and the Banditos every Saturday night, so she can actually read some of her new transcripts and stuff. Oh my gosh. I like this one, Paulina.
And actually Juan is like, God, you know, he starts making a few comments here and there, and then he realizes, oh my God, I actually just want to be an editor. Like, and then
I was thinking president of the fan club, and it becomes kind of a big Twitter, like a social media presence, helping to promote the works of Joan Wilder.
That is much better. That's much more exciting than mine. Mine is that basically then they start communicating with her editor back home, and then and I cannot remember the editor's name. I'm so sorry. Ruth. And they have this like correspondence basically, and they fall in love, and he moves to New York and he leaves it all behind. And they're basically like little editors, and they have like
hacienda.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, I think then they kind of live out their days, but I think, you know, Jack's kind of hard living life. He's probably going to die before her. And then she kind of stays on, and gets taken care of by the town, and they erect a little plaque to her. Anyway, and she teaches, she's like a teacher, you know, I don't know.
And just out of curiosity, have any of us seen Jewel of the Nile? The actual sequel to this?
It's been a really long time, but yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think I caught part of it on Comedy Central or something once, but yeah, all I remember is like there's a scene with like a fort. Yeah, so I don't know what happens to that, and that's obviously an adventure of some sort, but
yeah,
still within like the same year or something.
I kind of totally forgot the whole. Yeah, I forgot. I remember really liking that movie, but the details of it are not like the details I have of this movie. So
coming next week. No.
Yeah.
See, what's important though is that the sequels don't necessarily make canon unless we feel like it.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah. We used to have a rubric, but then we realized. But then Diana pointed out that my personal rubric is kind of BS. So I think she was rightly pointed out. It's just when we feel like it.
Well, when you feel like it. Oh. Yeah. Well. Okay. I think it may have happened. I think we may have done it.
I think we did.
High fives.
Woo! Yay!
That's awesome. Steve and Izzy, I mean, I think it's important because you didn't really get a chance to do it during this episode. You need to plug your show. I mean, where can they find you?
Yeah, no one knows anything about your show.
Oh, well, our show is called Everything I Learned from Movies. You can find it on all the major podcatchers, or hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at EILF Movies. That's Everything I Learned from Movies. We have weekly movie reviews. We also do celebrity interviews. We have little mini episodes, just all kinds of fun stuff. We have our free live shows at Broovies in Ogden, Utah, if you're in the neighborhood, every second Wednesday. In fact, when's this coming out?
This will be out January 29th.
Excellent. So our next show is going to be February 12th.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night.
Ooh.
And then in March, we have another one we should probably pull up on this podcast of yours if you'll have us. Life Force.
Yay!
Oh.
Space vampires.
Wow.
But yeah, and my wife makes some incredible art she might want to tell you about.
Oh, yeah, that's all over at untidyvenus.etsy.com. It's a goddess. It's bad at housekeeping.etsy.com. In fact, I'm printing postage right after this and shipping out tomorrow in order for one of the members of this here podcast we're on.
What?
Yay!
Thank you, by the way, again, because you're amazing.
I had some extra space on my wall that was really lonely and thought,
Diana, what did you order?
Oh, if I remember correctly, I ordered the Unicorns of the World.
Oh, that's a good one.
I really, really like that one. And see, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I ordered a little notebook. It was, I don't know the official title, but it was a unicorn meets a T-Rex?
Oh, yes, Gary the Unicorn versus the T-Rex with blank paper notebook.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out if I want to notebook it or if I want to take said notebook cover and just put it on my wall.
You know what? Do it. Do it. You can always put a different cover on those pages that like you make. Or just use the first page of the blank paper and design your own cover.
Possibilities here.
Or perhaps your fanfic pictures of Jesse from the opening scene of this movie.
Oh, Jesse.
Never let each other go again.
Izzy's stuff is so great because it's really it's incredibly detailed but also incredibly clever, but also like the great thing about Izzy is she's actually knows a ton about animal anatomy and behavior, and so even the cartoony stuff is like scientifically accurate, and I really
like
respect
Human
that.
Centipede.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
And and actually I'm going to order some once we actually hang stuff on our walls, and in fact this weekend I hope to hang an amazing I don't know if you're selling it on the store, but it's basically this iridescent silver wolf.
The foil edition of Star Wolf. Yes, I do have him on there. He comes in different colors. Mm-hmm. He's a wolf silhouette with a bunch of stars in him, and he comes in different colored foil. And yeah, I think I had just made a fresh batch of them when you guys came over to our last apartment, and you guys basically bought me out, which was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, we couldn't. Like there was no control. I was like. Take all money, more. The other thing is that, and it looks like it's moving. Like that's, I mean, you're so talented. It's really amazing.
Well, here, let's do this. If your listeners head over to my shop, untidyvenus.etsy.com, and use promo code HEAMCast, I'll give them 15% off. And I might even throw something at these podcasters. How's that sound?
What?
And any gentlemen that are listening, just remember, Valentine's Day is like 2 weeks away. You need to get something quick. I mean, and of course, Mother's Day is right around the corner. Your mom's going to like this stuff. That's untidyvenus.etsy.com.
Yeah, it's speaking as a woman, it's what I would want.
See?
Oh, you guys are too nice.
And if you're looking for something more manly, ladies who may be listening, there's also like paracord bracelets and dog leashes and stuff made by me. So there's all kinds of stuff.
It's true. It's all in there.
There's lots and lots of
amazing. And even Snackosauruses.
Oh yes.
One of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
you'll definitely find something.
Soon to be listed. There are Snackosaurus mini pillows.
What?
Hand sewn by me on fleece, super crazy soft. I just have to find the charger for my camera so I can take good pictures of them and list them.
What?
Is it on fleece and on fleek?
Exactly. Yes.
On fleeks.
You can have that one. You're welcome.
Woo! I'm gonna do it.
Can things other than eyebrows be on fleek? This is something that's confused me for years.
Google it because we got to keep going.
All right.
I don't know. Isn't fleeking when you accidentally squirt spit out from under your tongue at somebody?
That's gleeking.
Oh, okay.
No, somebody please confirm that. I'm actually.
Let's see. I'm checking Urban Dictionary. What is?
never do that.
Oh, there's pictures.
Another way to support the show, our show at least, is our wonderful sponsor, Frankie and Myrrh, who are an amazing. Actually, Izzy was the one who hooked us up. They do amazing aromatherapy. Recently, I've kind of gotten back into Study Buddy because I've had a lot of work to do, and it's all just really fantastic. So I highly recommend that. If you go to frankieandmyrrh.com, and that's FRANKIE and MYRRH, and you use the promo code happily1, you'll be supporting the show and we'll be very thankful. And you will also get 20% off. And 20%, like a whole 20%. And you'll get free shipping, domestic shipping in the US, anything over $35, even if you don't use the promo code. But like people who listen to this podcast
only if you use the code happily1 can you save 20% and get free shipping.
Exactly. Only.
On the finest aromatherapy and essential oil products on the market. frankieandmyrrh.com. Check it out.
What's your favorite product, Steve?
I like the 40 Winks. That helps me to relax when the evening comes around and get a good night's sleep. And the smell's really good and clean, and no headaches or anything.
Yeah, that's chamomile, lavender, frankincense, and vetiver. Super relaxing, excellent.
I'm sorry, what was the last one?
Vetiver?
That sounds made up.
Vetiver is a grass from India.
Oh, it sounds like a kingdom in The Witcher. The Knights of Vetiver headed this way. We must set forth. Anyway.
They use it in a lot of, it like conforms a nice base.
They use it in men's cologne quite a bit.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're lovely people, as Izzy can attest.
Oh, yes. I used to work for them. They are fantastic. It is literally owned by a couple who work day and night tirelessly. If they run out of a product, the owners are in the back making stuff. Their entire staff is really, you could count them on one hand, and everybody just works super, super hard. And just, it's constantly like, how can we make this funny? How can we make this fun? How can we add more stickers? Yeah, everything is fun.
It.
Yeah, and Myrrh's an unusual name for a person, unless an owner of an aromatherapy.
But wait, there's Myrrh.
I also, when you get a box from them, because for a while I would actually buy them in the store. The first couple, I bought them in a store, and then Diana had gotten it delivered, and there was so much fun stuff. God, I have to get off. We have to wrap up this podcast so I can go shopping.
And if you do happen to be by the Frankie and Myrrh store in San Francisco, at least for the next week, some of Izzy's art may actually still be up.
Yes, they have some of my art in office.
Oh my God, I'm going to stop by.
Yeah.
And just say hi also. They'll be like, oh, yeah, whatever. No, they won't, because they're nice.
Tell them Izzy sent you.
No, if you go in, ask for Dominique. She's usually there in the mornings, or Luis is there in the evenings. But ask for Dominique and tell her who you are, and she will recognize you from the affiliate program and will be super happy to meet you.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a little field trip.
San Francisco.
Field trip. I mean, when I say field trip, I'm going to get on a bus and then get off the bus 10 minutes later and then end up at the store. Maybe 15.
Bus trip. All right. So apparently Plana needs to get off the podcast to do shopping. So if you want to talk to us more about Romancing the Stone, you can reach us on Twitter at HEAMCast.
HEAMCAST.
And that's also the case for Instagram as well. We're on Facebook at Happily Ever Aftermath, and you can reach us at contact@HEAMCast.com for all your longer thoughts that you want to put in an email. If you like us, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Reviews help other people find us, and we really appreciate that. And if you go on any social media and search for the hashtag Lady Pod Squad, you can find other amazing lady-run shows. And you can also check out the Castaways, which Steve and Izzy are a part of. Woo!
Yeah. Ooh.
Some great group of people that I got to meet as well. So I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff out there. There's always something interesting.
Yeah. So, well, that's it for Romancing the Stone. Steve, Izzy, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us, ladies.
Oh, our pleasure.
Yes. Okay. Well, then that's it for this episode. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
The T stands for thank you.
Next time we'll be doing The Mummy, kicking off Frasier. That's right, as in Brendan Fraser. See you then.